The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was silent. This never happened. Usually, the chamber buzzed with the sounds of 100 different species talking at once. The Vrel clicked their mandibles, the Torvan hummed in their crystal forms, the Kelthrim made soft whistling sounds through their breathing tubes. But today, nobody made a sound. High Counselor Vren stood at the center platform. His 6 legs trembled slightly. In all his 300 years of service, he had never felt this kind of fear. On the massive screen behind him, star maps showed red zones spreading like a disease across the galaxy. 12 systems. Gone. Just gone. The Ravagers have struck again, Vren said. His translator device turned his clicks into words everyone could understand. Kelthros Prime fell yesterday. 4 billion souls lost. A wave of distress moved through the chamber. Species who never agreed on anything all shared the same expression of horror. We sent our best fleets, Commander Telvik of the Torvan species spoke up. His crystalline body glowed dim with sadness. We used every strategy from the ancient war database. We calculated every possible outcome. We should have won. But we lost, Vren finished. We lost badly. Just like the 11 times before, the chamber erupted in noise. Everyone spoke at once, their fear turning into angry questions. How could this happen? The council species had evolved beyond war. They used mathematics and logic to solve every problem. War was simple math. Calculate the odds, apply superior numbers, victory follows. This formula had worked for thousands of years against pirates and raiders, but not against the Ravagers. There is one option we have not considered, said Ambassador Kelris. She was old, even for a Vrel. Her voice carried weight. When she spoke, others listened. The humans, the chamber went silent again. Then came the sounds of disgust, clicks of disapproval, hums of disagreement, whistles of concern. The primitives? Someone shouted. They are barely civilized, another voice added. They still fight each other on their own planet. Kelris waited for the noise to die down. Yes, she said calmly. They fight. That is exactly why we need them. In a small office away from the main chamber, Ambassador Hana sat at her desk. She was human, which made her unusual in this building of aliens. She was reading reports when her door chimed. Come in, she said. Kelris entered, followed by 2 Torvan guards. Hana stood up and bowed her head slightly. It was a human gesture of respect. She had learned that many aliens found it confusing but polite. Ambassador Hana, Kelris clicked. The Council requests Earth's assistance. Hana smiled. It was a small smile, but something about it made Kelris uncomfortable. Humans showed their teeth when happy. It looked like a threat display. You want our military help, Hana said. It was not a question. Yes, the Ravagers must be stopped. We have tried everything. We need a different approach. You need warriors, Hana corrected. You need people who understand war. Not as mathematics. As survival. Kelris's mandibles twitched. Will Earth help? Hana's smile grew wider. Oh yes. But you should know something first. Once you ask humans to fight your war, things will change. We do not fight like you do. We do not calculate acceptable losses and withdraw when the numbers look bad. We fight until we win, or until we cannot fight anymore. We are desperate, Kelris admitted. I know, Hana said. I will send the message to Earth Fleet Command now. 2 days later, the warship Indomitable arrived at Council Station. It was not the biggest ship in the dock. The Council had vessels twice its size. But something about the human ship made other species nervous. Maybe it was the dark gray color. Maybe it was the obvious weapon ports covering its hull. Maybe it was the name itself, written in human letters on the side. Captain J walked through the station corridors with his senior staff. People moved out of their way. Not because humans were large. Several species were bigger. But because of how they moved, every human walked like a predator. Their eyes constantly scanned for threats. They moved with purpose and confidence. Never been to Council Station before, said Commander Tay, Jay's second officer. It is very clean. Never been to Council. No wars for 3,000 years, Jay replied. Makes everything clean. They entered the council chamber. Hundreds of alien eyes turned to watch them. Jay did not seem bothered. He walked to the center platform where Vren waited. Captain Jay of Earth Fleet, Vren said formally. The council thanks you for coming. You asked for help, Jay said simply. Show me what we are fighting. For the next hour, the council showed everything. Battle recordings, tactical data, ship designs, Ravager attack patterns. The humans watched it all in silence. Their faces showed no emotion. This made the aliens even more nervous. When the presentation ended, Vren asked, Can you help us? Jay looked at his officers. Commander Tay nodded once. Lieutenant Yuna, the tactical officer, made a small gesture with her hand. Navigator Hyun closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them and nodded too. We can fight them, Jay said. Relief washed through the chamber like a wave. But we need complete operational freedom, Jay continued. We fight our way. You do not question our methods. You do not override our decisions. When we say we need to do something, you let us do it. The council members looked at each other. Vren's legs tapped nervously on the platform. That is, highly irregular. We have protocols, procedures, chain of command structures. Those protocols are why you are losing, Jay said bluntly. The Ravagers do not care about your rules. They kill and destroy. If you want us to stop them, we do it our way. The silence stretched out. Finally, High Counselor Vren spoke. You have permission to engage freely, he said. But Captain Jay, understand this. If you fail, humanity will be held responsible. If you succeed through methods too brutal, humanity will be held responsible. This is a great risk for your species. Jay smiled. It was the same kind of smile Hana had given Kelris. Teeth showing. Eyes cold. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every single day, Jay said quietly. We survived ice ages, plagues, predators with bigger teeth and claws. We survived each other. Risk is not new to us. Risk is where we live. He turned to leave, then paused. Prepare your fleets, Jay said. We moved to Praxis 4 in 6 hours. The Ravagers attacked there 3 days ago. Let us show you how humans fight. As the humans left, the council chamber remained quiet. Kelris approached Vren. Did we make the right choice? Vren asked. Kelris watched the humans disappear down the corridor. We are about to find out, she said. The humans have a saying. Better the devil you know than the devil you do not know. I think we just invited a new devil to our table. What if they cannot win? Vren whispered. Then we are already lost, Kelris replied. But if they can win, High Counselor, I think we will learn something about war that we have forgotten, and I am not sure we will like the lesson. The joint fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Praxis 4 system. Immediately, alarms sounded on every ship. The planet below was burning. Ravager forces detected, reported Navigator Hyun from his station on the Indomitable. 12 assault carriers in low orbit. Ground forces already deployed. Estimated enemy strength on surface, 40,000. Captain Jay studied the tactical display. The Ravagers had landed troops in 3 major cities. The local defense forces were gone. Millions of civilians were trapped. Council fleet is hailing us, said Communications Officer Borum. Put them through, Jay ordered. Commander Telvik's crystalline face appeared on the screen. Behind him, Jay could see the bridge of the Council flagship Harmony. Everything was white and blue. Very clean. Very organized. Captain Jay, we should establish orbital superiority first, Telvik said. Standard doctrine requires securing space before considering surface operations. We will bombard their landing zones from orbit. That will kill the civilians, Jay pointed out. Acceptable losses, Telvik replied. His voice held no emotion. We save the many by sacrificing the few. This is logical. Jay's jaw tightened. Around him, his bridge crew exchanged looks. Lieutenant Yuna's hands curled into fists. We do not operate that way, Jay said slowly. Keep your fleet in orbit. Deal with their carriers. My people are going down to the surface. Telvik's crystal body flashed with surprise. Surface deployment? Captain, that is suicide. No species has engaged in ground combat for centuries. It is inefficient. The casualty rates are unacceptable. Then watch and learn. Jay cut the connection. He turned to his crew. Commander Tay, prepare your strike teams. Lieutenant Yuna, you will lead the second wave. Navigator Hyun, I need you in a fighter. We go in fast and hard. Yes, sir, they replied in unison. 20 minutes later, 12 dropships fell from the Indomitable toward Praxis 4. Inside one ship, Commander Tay checked his weapon for the third time. Around him, 30 soldiers did the same. They wore armor that looked heavy and crude compared to Council technology. But it worked. More importantly, the humans knew how to fight in it. 2 minutes to landing zone, the pilot announced. Ravager forces are everywhere. They know we are coming. Good, Tay said. I want them to see us. The dropship hit atmosphere. It shook violently. Fire covered the viewports. Then they broke through clouds, and the city appeared below. Buildings were smashed. Fires burned everywhere, and moving through the streets were the Ravagers. They looked like insects crossed with machines. 6 legs, 4 arms. Weapons built into their bodies. Their armor reflected laser fire. They were efficient killers, designed by evolution or engineering to destroy. Touching down in 10 seconds, the pilot said. Good hunting, Commander. The dropship slammed into the ground. The rear ramp dropped. Tay was first out. His rifle up and ready. His team followed, spreading out automatically. They had done this 1,000 times in training. Humans drilled for war constantly, even in peace. Ravagers appeared around the corner of a destroyed building. 20 of them, their weapons powered up. Contact! Tay shouted. Cover positions! His team moved like water, flowing into doorways and behind rubble. The Ravagers fired. Energy weapons lit up the street. But the humans were not where the Ravagers expected. Humans understood something the Ravagers did not. That staying alive was more important than standing and shooting. Tay leaned out from behind a concrete block and fired 3 shots. 1 Ravager fell. Then he ducked back as return fire scorched his previous position. He was already moving to a new spot. Flank them, he ordered. Sergeant Day led 5 soldiers through a destroyed building. They came out behind the Ravagers. The aliens turned. Confused. They had calculated human positions based on the first shots. They had not expected the humans to move so fast, to adapt so quickly. The firefight lasted 30 seconds. When it ended, all 20 Ravagers were down. Tay's team had 2 injuries. Nobody dead. Keep moving, Tay commanded. Find civilians. Get them to the extraction point. Above the city, Navigator Hyun sat in the cockpit of his fighter. He was not a large man. Most humans were not large compared to other species, but his hands on the controls were steady, and his eyes saw everything. Fighter squad. Form up on me, he said into his radio. We provide air support for ground teams. His squadron of 12 fighters dove toward the city. Ravager aircraft rose to meet them. The aliens flew in perfect formation. Their movements were precise. Mathematical, Hyun grinned. Mathematics was predictable. He broke formation and dove straight at the lead Ravager ship. Their targeting computers tracked him. At the last second, Hyun rolled his fighter sideways and slipped between 2 buildings. The gap was barely wider than his ship. The Ravager pilot tried to follow and clipped a building with his wing. The alien ship spun out of control and crashed. Do not fly predictable patterns, Hyun shouted to his squadron. Make them guess. Make them react. The other human pilots followed his lead. They flew low, using the city itself as cover. They dodged around buildings, under bridges, through gaps that should have been too small. The Ravagers tried to follow, but their flying was too perfect, too calculated. They could not adapt fast enough to the chaos humans created. On the Harmony, Commander Telvik watched his screens with growing confusion. The human ships on his tactical display moved in ways that made no sense. They took risks that should have been fatal. They violated every rule of safe flying, but they were winning. "I do not understand," Telvik said to his tactical officer. "They should be dead. Their casualty rates should be catastrophic." "Sir, they are recovering civilians from the surface," his officer reported. "Already 3,000 evacuated." "How?" "Ground operations take weeks to plan. They have been down there less than an hour." On the ground, Lieutenant Yuna led her team through the ruins of a hospital. They moved in pairs, covering each other. It was basic infantry tactics. But no council species remembered how to do it anymore. "Found them," whispered Private Minji. 30 civilians, hiding in the basement. Yuna moved forward carefully. The civilians were Kelthrim, tall, thin aliens with gray skin. They looked terrified. When they saw Yuna, their fear grew worse. "Humans scared everyone lately. We are here to help," Yuna said softly. She lowered her weapon and held out her hand. "We will get you out." An elderly Kelthrim stepped forward. "You are human. You are warriors." "Yes," Yuna admitted. "But we fight so others do not have to. Come. Stay close. Stay quiet." She led the civilians back through the building. Her team formed a protective circle around them. When Ravagers appeared in the street ahead, the humans did not hesitate. They opened fire immediately, driving the aliens back. "Keep moving," Yuna shouted. She grabbed a small Kelthrim child who had frozen in fear and carried them while still shooting one-handed. They reached the extraction point. The dropship waited, its ramp down. Yuna's team got the civilians aboard, then climbed in themselves. Last one in, Yuna hit the ramp control. "Go," she told the pilot. The dropship lifted off under fire. Energy weapons scorched its hull, but the armor held. They climbed toward orbit and safety. By nightfall, the battle had turned. The human ground teams had rescued over 10,000 civilians. They had destroyed Ravager command posts. They had disrupted alien supply lines. And they had done it all using tactics the Ravagers did not understand. On the Indomitable, Captain J reviewed the reports. 2 soldiers dead. 15 injured. Against an enemy that should have killed them all. "The Ravagers are retreating," Commander Tay reported. He had dirt on his face and blood on his armor from carrying a wounded soldier. "They are pulling back to their carriers." "Let them go," Jay said quietly. "Sir?" Tay looked surprised. "Let them retreat. Let them report what they saw. Let them tell their commanders that they faced humans and lost." Jay turned to look at the planet below. Smoke rose from the cities, but the fires were going out. Humans and council forces were working together now, helping the survivors. "The council asked us how humans fight," Jay said. "Now they know. We do not calculate acceptable losses. We do not sacrifice civilians for strategic advantage. We go into the danger ourselves. We take the risks. We pay the price in our own blood. And we win." Tay added. "And we win," Jay agreed. In the council chamber back at the station, High Counselor Vren watched recordings of the battle. He watched humans run through fire to save aliens they had never met. He watched them fight in ways that should have killed them but somehow did not. He watched them risk everything for people who feared and distrusted them. "What are they?" Vren whispered. Ambassador Hana stood beside him. She had been watching the same recordings. "They are what you used to be," Hana said quietly. "Before you forgot that survival requires sacrifice. Before you decided logic was stronger than determination. Humans remember what you forgot. That some things are worth dying for." "Are all humans like this?" Vren asked. Hana smiled sadly. "Every single one," she said. "We grow up on a planet that tried to kill us. We fight that planet every day. When we reached space, we brought our struggle with us. You see warriors. We see survivors doing what survivors do. On the planet below, Commander Tay sat against a wall and closed his eyes for a moment. Around him, his team rested. They had been fighting for 18 hours. They were exhausted, but they would get up and fight again tomorrow if needed, because that was what humans did. They survived. The council chamber was full again, but this time the mood was different. After the victory at Praxis 4, the aliens looked at humans with new eyes. The fear was still there, but now it mixed with curiosity and something else. Hope. High Counselor Vren stood at his platform. The council demands an explanation, he announced. We saw recordings of the battle. Human tactics made no logical sense. You took unnecessary risks. Your strategies violated basic military doctrine. Yet, you won. You won decisively, added Commander Telvik. His crystal body pulsed with confusion. We need to understand how. Captain J stood in the center of the chamber. You asked for a warrior. You got one. Now you want us to explain war to people who have forgotten what war really is? Yes, Vren said simply. J nodded slowly. Then you need to hear from someone who studies war, not just fights it. He gestured to the chamber entrance. May I present Scholar Nari, human military historian. A woman entered the chamber. She was older than most of the humans the council had met. Gray streaked her dark hair. She walked with a cane, her left leg stiff from an old injury, but her eyes were sharp and alert. Honorable council members, Nari said, bowing her head. I am here to teach you about war. Real war. Not the sanitized version you practice with optimal casualty calculations and withdrawal protocols. She activated a holographic display. An image of Earth appeared, rotating slowly. This is our home, Nari said. It looks peaceful from space. Beautiful even. But Earth is what we call a death world. Everything there tries to kill you. The image zoomed in, showing different regions. Deserts where temperatures could kill in hours. Jungles full of venomous creatures. Frozen wastelands where exposed skin froze in minutes. Oceans with storms that could sink ships. Humans evolved on this planet, Nari continued. We were not the biggest predators. Not the fastest. Not the strongest. We survived through intelligence, endurance, and something else. Our refusal to give up. She changed the image. Now it showed early humans, primitive and barely clothed, hunting an animal 10 times their size. This is persistence hunting, Nari explained. We would chase prey for hours, days sometimes. The animal would run until it collapsed from exhaustion. We did not need to be fast. We just needed to never stop. A Vrel council member clicked his mandibles. That is, disturbing. You hunted through attrition? We still do, Nari replied. We just apply it differently now. When you retreated from Praxis 4, you calculated that casualties would exceed acceptable levels. Humans do not think that way. We ask a different question. Can we win if we keep fighting? If yes, we keep fighting. And we. She changed the image again. This time it showed human history. Weapons. Battles. For most species in the Council, war ended thousands of years ago, Nari said. You achieved peace and kept it. Humans fought wars until we reached space. We have never stopped fighting. Not really. The images scrolled through history. Ancient warriors with swords. Medieval armies with arrows and siege weapons. Industrial soldiers with guns and tanks. Modern forces with advanced technology. 10,000 years of warfare, Nari said quietly. 10,000 years of learning how to kill each other more efficiently. You see this as barbaric, shameful. We see it as education. Every war taught us lessons. Every battle made us better at surviving. Better at killing. You mean, said a Torvan council member. Yes, Nari agreed without shame. Better at killing. Because the universe is full of things that want to kill you. We learned that on Earth. We did not forget it in space. She gestured to Sergeant Day, who stood at the side of the chamber. May I demonstrate? Day stepped forward. He was a large man by human standards, heavily muscled. He removed his jacket, showing the scars on his arms. This is a human soldier, Nari said. Sergeant Day has fought in 12 battles. He has been wounded 4 times. Watch. She handed Day a knife. Without warning, she suddenly struck at him. Day's body reacted instantly. He blocked, countered, and had the knife at Nari's throat in less than a second. Then he stopped and stepped back. Our bodies are weapons, Nari explained. That reaction was not thought through. It was automatic. Millions of years of evolution programmed into muscle memory. Every human has this. We call it the fight or flight response. But he chose to fight, Vren observed. Not flee. Exactly, Nari said. Most humans choose fight. It is in our nature. One presented Isabel to states. Nari 7. Nari said by heart. With Yukon looted. Nari said. She called Medical Officer Suji forward. The young doctor bowed politely. Dr. Suji, please explain human physiology to the council, Nari requested. Suji activated her own display. It showed a human body with various systems highlighted. When a human faces danger, our bodies change, Suji explained. The heart beats faster. Blood pressure rises. A chemical called adrenaline floods the system. This gives us temporary enhanced strength, speed, and pain resistance. Pain resistance? Asked a Kelthram Council member. You can ignore injury? Not ignore, Suji corrected, but we can function through it. A human soldier can fight with broken bones, burns, or wounds that would incapacitate other species, not forever, but long enough to complete the mission. She showed a recording from the Praxis 4 battle. It showed Private Minji carrying 2 civilians, while her left arm hung useless, broken by enemy fire. She got them to safety before collapsing. That should not be possible, Telvik said. For you. No. Suji agreed. Crystalline species like the Torvan feel pain more intensely than humans. Many species have nervous systems designed to make them stop immediately when injured. This protects you from further harm. Humans are different. Our bodies let us keep going because, on Earth, stopping meant death. Nari stepped forward again. Now, I will show you the most important difference between humans and the Council species. She displayed 2 battle recordings side by side. One showed a Council fleet engagement with the Ravagers. The other showed human forces at Praxis 4. Watch the Council fleet, Nari said. You maintain formation. You calculate firing solutions. When casualties reach 15%, you withdraw. This is logical. This minimizes losses. This is smart. But you still lost, Nari continued. Now watch humans. We break formation constantly. We take risks that look suicidal. We adapt to every change in the battle, and we do not withdraw until we win or cannot fight anymore. You fight to minimize casualties, she said, her voice growing harder. We fight to win. Do you understand the difference? The chamber was silent. You think war is mathematics, Nari said. Calculate odds. Apply force. Achieve objectives. But war is not mathematics. War is chaos. War is fear and rage and desperation. War is about who wants victory more. And humans always want it more because we have been fighting for survival since we climbed down from the trees. She paused, letting her words sink in. The Ravagers are winning against you because they understand this. Nari continued. They fight without mercy. They adapt. They do not calculate acceptable losses. In many ways, they are like us. That is why we can beat them. We understand each other. You admire them, Vren said, shocked. I respect them, Nari corrected. As one warrior respects another. They are effective killers. So are we. The difference is that we fight to protect. They fight to destroy. She changed the display one more time. Now it showed human soldiers helping civilians at Praxis 4. Carrying children. Treating wounds. Sharing food and water. This is also part of being human, Nari said softly. We fight fiercely because we love fiercely. We risk death to save strangers because that is what humans do. Every soldier in my species understands this. We are warriors. Yes, but we are protectors first. Ambassador Hana stood up from her seat. The council asked why humans fight differently. Now you know. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us. We survived by being stubborn. By adapting. By never giving up. War is in our blood because survival was never guaranteed. You are damaged, said a council member quietly. Yes, Hana agreed. Earth damaged us. Made us violent, aggressive, emotional. But those damages are also our strengths. You want protectors who calculate costs and withdraw when numbers look bad? You have a galaxy full of those, and they are losing. You want protectors who will stand between you and the darkness, who will bleed and die rather than give up 1 inch of ground? Then you want humans. Vren's legs trembled on his platform. What you describe is terrifying. Yes, Nari said. We are terrifying. To the Ravagers. To you. Sometimes to ourselves. But High Counselor, ask yourself this question. Would you rather have humans fighting beside you or against you? The silence that followed was heavy. Every council member was thinking the same thing. These humans were dangerous. Their history was violent. Their nature was aggressive. But they won battles that no one else could win. Captain J spoke up. The council brought us here to stop the Ravagers. We will do that. But understand something. We will do it our way. Our brutal, violent, terrifying way. Because our way works. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of different species. You have lived in peace for millennia, Jay said. You forgot what peace costs. It costs blood and sacrifice, and warriors willing to stand in the darkness. Humans never forgot. We cannot forget. It is who we are. Nari limped back to the center of the chamber. I have studied 10,000 years of human warfare, she said. I can tell you every major battle, every important strategy, every lesson learned in blood. But the most important lesson is this. Humans fight best when we fight for others. Give us something to protect, and we become unstoppable. The Ravagers need to learn this lesson, she continued. They think they are facing another council species. Logical. Predictable. Willing to accept defeat when mathematics says so. They are wrong. They are facing humans, and humans are none of those things. She looked directly at Vren. You asked for an explanation, High Counselor. There it is. Humans are what happens when a species refuses to go quietly into the dark. We are survivors who became warriors, who became protectors. And we are very, very good at it. The meeting ended soon after. As the council members filed out, they looked at the humans with new understanding. Some looked relieved. Others looked more afraid than before. Ambassador Hana watched them go. Beside her, Nari leaned on her cane. Did we scare them? Nari asked quietly. Absolutely, Hana replied. Good, Nari said. Fear is honest. Better they fear us and understand us than pretend we are something we are not. The Ravagers will fear us too, soon enough. And then this war will end. The warning came at dawn. A Ravager fleet, the largest ever seen, was heading toward Kethros. The planet was home to 8 billion people and produced most of the Council's advanced technology. If Kethros fell, the war was lost. Captain J stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, studying the tactical display. Beside him, Tactical Officer Junho frowned at the numbers. 40 Ravager warships, Junho said quietly, plus support vessels. They outnumber our combined fleet, 3-1. Can we win? Jay asked. Junho did not answer immediately. He was young for his position, but his mind worked in ways that confused even other humans. He did not just calculate numbers, he calculated emotions, instincts, mistakes. If we fight like the Council does? No, Junho finally said. They will destroy us in 20 minutes. But if we fight like humans, and if the Council fleet actually follows our lead this time, I will take 50-50, Jay said. He opened the fleet-wide channel. All ships. This is Captain J. The Ravagers are coming in force. They expect us to calculate odds and withdraw. They expect Council tactics. We are going to give them something different. On the Harmony, Commander Telvik listened to Jay's words. His crystalline body pulsed with concern. Captain J, we are badly outnumbered, Telvik said. Perhaps we should evacuate the planet and regroup. No, Jay replied firmly. Every time you retreat, you teach the Ravagers that you will abandon civilians to save ships. Today, we teach them something new. Today we show them that some lines cannot be crossed. What is your plan? Asked Ambassador Kelris, who was observing from the Council flagship. We make them emotional, Jay said. We make them angry. Angry enemies make mistakes. The Ravager fleet arrived 6 hours later. They came out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. 40 warships arranged in precise geometric patterns. Their strategy was simple and effective. They would overwhelm the defenders with superior numbers, land troops on the planet, and harvest the technology they needed. They did not expect the first wave. 20 human fighters, led by Navigator Hyun, dove straight at the Ravager formation. The alien targeting computers locked on immediately. But the humans did not fire. They just flew closer. What are they doing? The Ravager commander clicked to his officers. Why do they not shoot? The answer came seconds later. The human fighters broke formation and scattered in 20 different directions. Each fighter drew enemy fire away from the main fleet. The Ravager formation had to adjust, had to split their focus. Now, Jay ordered. The combined human and Council fleet opened fire. While the Ravagers were tracking individual fighters, the capital ships hit them with massed weapons fire. 3 Ravager ships exploded immediately. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Engineer Mina watched her power distribution screens. The ship was running at 115% capacity. Technically impossible. The engines should be shutting down for safety. Boss, if we keep this up, we are going to burn out half our systems, Mina said to Jay. Can you keep us running for 1 more hour? Jay asked. Maybe, Mina replied. But it is not safe. Safe lost this war for the Council, Jay said. Keep us running. Mina nodded and turned to her engineering team. They were already rerouting power, bypassing safety systems, and pushing every component beyond its rated limits. It was dangerous. It was reckless. It was exactly how humans operated. The battle turned into chaos. The Ravagers tried to reform their lines, but the humans would not let them. Hyun's fighters harassed them constantly. The capital ships fired from unexpected angles. Nothing followed standard battle doctrine. Tactical Officer Junho sat at his station, his eyes distant. He was not watching the screens. He was thinking. Captain, the Ravager flagship is getting angry, Junho said suddenly. Jay looked at him. How do you know? Their formation, Junho explained, pointing at the tactical display. See how the flagship keeps moving forward? The commander is frustrated. We are not fighting the way he expects. He is making emotional decisions now, not logical ones. And that helps us how? Asked Commander Tae. Angry commanders make predictable mistakes, Junho said with a slight smile. They focus on revenge instead of victory. Watch. In 30 seconds, the flagship is going to break formation and come straight at us. 28 seconds later, the Ravager flagship did exactly that. Target their engines, Jay ordered. All forward weapons. The Indomitable and 3 other human ships concentrated fire on the flagship. The Ravager vessel's shields flickered and failed. Its engines took critical damage. The massive ship began to drift, unable to maneuver. Got you, Jay whispered. Then everything went wrong. 3 Ravager ships broke through the defensive line and opened fire on the Indomitable. The human ship rocked under the impact. Alarms screamed. Lights flickered. "Shield failure," someone shouted. "Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. Another impact. The bridge shook violently. Mina's engineering station exploded in sparks. She was thrown against the wall. "Mina," Jay shouted. The engineer pulled herself up, blood running down her face from a cut on her forehead. "I am fine. But boss, we just lost main power to forward weapons. Backup systems are failing. We have maybe 10 minutes before we are dead in space." Captain Jay looked around his damaged bridge. This was the moment where council commanders would order evacuation. They would calculate that the ship was lost and save the crew. It was logical. It was smart. It was survival. "All hands," Jay said over the intercom. "We are not abandoning ship. Engineering, I need those weapons back online. Medical teams to all damaged sections. Everyone else, keep fighting. We do not give up. We do not surrender. We win or we die trying." His crew did not question the order. They went to work. In engineering, Mina and her team worked in smoke and darkness. The main reactor was intact, but power distribution was destroyed. They needed to rebuild entire systems while the ship was under fire. "This is impossible," said one of her engineers. "Then we do the impossible," Mina snapped. "Bypass the distribution network. Route power directly from the reactor to the weapons. Strip every other system if you have to. Engines, life support, I do not care. We need those weapons. But if we do that, we will blow out every safety system in the ship," the engineer protested. "I know," Mina said, already pulling cables and rerouting connections. "Do it anyway." On the bridge, Strike Commander Wu approached Captain Jay. Wu was a big man, scarred from dozens of battles. He looked at the drifting Ravager flagship on the screens. "Captain, I have an idea," Wu said. "A crazy idea." "I like crazy," Jay replied. "We board them," Wu said simply. "The flagship is disabled. If we can take it, we can capture their commander. Maybe get intelligence. Definitely send a message to the other Ravagers." Jay stared at him. "You want to board an enemy capital ship in the middle of a battle?" "Yes, sir," Wu said. "How many troops do you need?" 50. All volunteers." Jay nodded slowly. "You have 20 minutes before their reinforcements arrive. After that, you are on your own." I manned. "Understood." Wu turned to leave. "Commander," Jay called. "Come back alive." "Always do," Wu replied. 10 minutes later, a boarding pod launched from the Indomitable. Inside were 50 human soldiers in heavy armor. Strike Commander Wu stood at the front, checking his weapon one final time. "Everyone remember the plan," he said. "Fast and violent. We get in, find their command center, secure the commander, and get out. Do not stop to fight unless necessary. Speed is life." The pod hit the Ravager flagship's hull and cut through. The soldiers poured into the enemy ship. Inside was chaos. Emergency lights flashed. Ravager crew members scrambled to respond. They had never been boarded before. No species tried this anymore. It was too dangerous. Too costly. But humans did not think about cost. They thought about objectives. Wu's team moved through the ship like ghosts. They used alien corridors for cover. They climbed through access tubes too small for Ravagers. They appeared, struck, and vanished before the enemy could react. "Command center ahead," reported Sergeant Day. 20 Ravagers guarding it. "Breach charges," Wu ordered. They planted explosives on the door. The blast threw it inward. Smoke filled the corridor. Wu's team went in shooting. The firefight was brutal and fast. Human armor took hits, but held. Human soldiers fought through injuries that should have stopped them. In 90 seconds, the command center was secured. The Ravager commander stood in the center, his 4 arms raised in a gesture that might have been surrender or defiance. He was larger than the other Ravagers, his armor more elaborate. "You," the commander clicked in the trade language. "You are human." "Yes," Wu replied, his weapon never wavering. We calculated you would flee, the commander said. Your ship is damaged. You should have withdrawn. We do not calculate like you do, Wu said. Now you will order your fleet to surrender. The commander's body language shifted. Surprise. Confusion. Surrender? We outnumber you. We are winning. Look at your screens, Wu said. The command center displays showed the battle. But it had changed. While Wu's team was boarding, the human fleet had regrouped. Engineer Mina had somehow got the Indomitable's weapons back online. The combined fleet was pushing the Ravagers back, and the flagship was in human hands. Your ships are leaderless now, Wu explained. You lost. Not because we had more ships. Not because our technology was better. You lost because we did something you thought was impossible. We boarded you. We took your command ship. We broke your formation and your morale. He stepped closer to the Ravager commander. This is what humans do, Wu said quietly. We do impossible things. We take risks no sane species would take. And we win because we are willing to pay prices you cannot imagine. Now order your fleet to withdraw or we blow this ship with all of us on it. Your choice. The Ravager commander stared at this human. This small, damaged, bleeding human who spoke of destroying himself without hesitation. And he understood something that all Ravagers would soon understand. Humans were insane, gloriously, terrifyingly insane. All Ravager ships, the commander clicked into his communicator. Withdraw. Withdraw immediately. The Ravager fleet broke formation and fled. For the first time in the war, they retreated completely. Hours later, Wu and his team returned to the Indomitable. They brought prisoners. They brought intelligence data. And they brought victory. Captain J met them in the docking bay. Wu saluted, then collapsed. Medical Officer Suji rushed forward. He is fine, she said after a quick examination. Exhausted. Some broken ribs. Burn wounds. But he will live. They all will. Jay looked at his strike team. Battered, bloody, victorious. This was humanity. This was what happened when a species refused to accept defeat. On the Harmony, Commander Telvik watched recordings of the boarding action. He watched humans fight through conditions that would kill his own people. He watched them do impossible things and make them look routine. I understand now, Telvik said to Ambassador Kelris. Understand what? She asked. Why humans terrify the Ravagers, Telvik replied. They do not fight to minimize losses. They fight like every battle is their last. Like losing is literally not an option in their minds. It is magnificent and horrifying in equal measure. Kelris looked at the damaged but victorious human fleet. Welcome to humanity, she said softly. The war ended 3 months after the Battle of Kethros. Not with humanity's destruction, as some had feared. Not with the galaxy in ruins. The war ended with something nobody had seen in recorded history. The Ravagers surrendered. They sent a delegation to Council Station. They offered terms. They withdrew from occupied systems. They agreed to peace talks. The entire galaxy watched in shock as the unstoppable enemy simply stopped. High Counselor Vren stood before the full Galactic Council. Every species was represented. Thousands of beings filled the Great Chamber. But everyone's eyes were on the humans, standing at the center platform. Ambassador Hana wore formal diplomatic robes. Beside her stood Commander Jin, a decorated Special Forces operative, with more combat experience than most aliens could comprehend. He looked uncomfortable in the formal setting but stood at attention. Ambassador Hana, Vren began. The Council requests an explanation. The Ravagers were winning. They had superior numbers, proven tactics, and momentum. Then humans joined the war. Within months, the Ravagers sued for peace. We need to understand what happened. Hana looked around the chamber. So many species. So many worlds. All of them had lived in peace for thousands of years. All of them had forgotten lessons humanity never could forget. High Counselor, honored council members. Hana began. You ask what changed. The answer is simple. The Ravagers met humans, and they learned fear. But we fought them too, protested a Kelthram representative. We also inspired fear. No, Commander Jin spoke up. His voice was rough, scarred from years of shouting orders in battle. You inspired caution. There is a difference. He stepped forward. With permission, I will demonstrate. Vren gestured agreement. Jin activated a holographic display. It showed battle footage from before humans joined the war. Council fleets fought the Ravagers with precision and logic. Watch this, Jin said. The Council fleet maintains formation. When casualties reach 15%, they withdraw. Smart, logical, survival-oriented. He changed the image. Now it showed humans fighting at Praxis 4. Now watch us, Jin continued. We are outnumbered. Our ship is damaged. Logic says retreat. But we board an enemy flagship instead. We do the impossible not because it is smart, but because it is necessary. That is recklessness, said a Torvan Council member. Yes, Jin agreed. It is also victory. The Ravagers calculated that you would always choose survival over objectives. They were right, but they calculated that humans would do the same. They were wrong. Hana took over. Let me tell you a story about Earth. About humanity. About why we are what we are. End quote. Anna, she changed the hologram. It showed Earth, but not the modern world. This was Earth, thousands of years ago. Every species here evolved on peaceful worlds, Hana said. Your planets had mild climates. Abundant food. Few predators. You developed intelligence and technology in safety and comfort. You reached space through cooperation and logic. The image changed, showing Earth's harsh reality. Ice ages. Droughts. Volcanic eruptions. Massive predators with teeth and claws. Earth tried to kill us, Hana said simply. Every single day. We were not the strongest. Not the fastest. Not the most dangerous. We were prey animals who learned to think. And thinking saved us. She showed images of early humans. Small groups working together. Hunting. Building shelters. Making fire. We survived through cooperation, yes, Hana continued. But also through stubbornness. We refused to die. When ice covered the world, we did not hide and wait for better weather. We adapted. We made clothes. We built better shelters. We refused to accept extinction. When predators hunted us, we hunted them back. When disease killed our people, we learned medicine. When other tribes threatened us, we learned war. Everything that should have destroyed us made us stronger instead. The images scrolled through human history. Civilizations rising and falling. Wars. Plagues. Disasters. And humans always surviving. Always adapting. Always pushing forward. We reached space not because we are peaceful, Hana said. We reached space because we are stubborn survivors who refuse to accept limits. When told something is impossible, humans see a challenge. When told the odds are against us, humans fight harder. Commander Jin stepped forward again. The Ravagers are like us in some ways. They are aggressive, they adapt, they fight without mercy. That is why they beat the Council species. You tried to fight them with logic, and logic does not work on creatures driven by instinct and hunger. But humans understand instinct, Jin continued. We understand hunger and rage and desperation. We speak the same language the Ravagers speak, the language of survival at any cost. He showed footage of human soldiers fighting. Not battle tactics. Just moments of pure determination. A soldier with a broken leg still carrying a wounded comrade. A pilot flying a damaged ship to shield civilians. A captain standing on her destroyed bridge, still giving orders as the ship burned around her. This is what the Ravagers saw, Jin said. They saw creatures who do not know how to quit, who will fight with broken bodies and damaged equipment, who treat death as an acceptable outcome, if it means protecting others. The Ravagers calculated that humans were just another Council species. Logical. Predictable. Willing to accept defeat when mathematics demanded it. They were wrong, Jin said flatly. Humans do not accept defeat, ever. We will fight until we win or until we are dead. There is no middle ground, no acceptable loss threshold, no withdrawal point. We fight until it is done. Hana brought up new images. These showed captured Ravagers being interviewed by human intelligence officers. We questioned them, Hana said. Asked why they surrendered. Their answers were educational. She played audio of the interviews. The Ravager voices came through translators. The humans do not fight like others, one Ravager said. They should die, but they do not die. They should retreat, but they attack instead. They do things that make no sense. Another Ravager spoke. We destroyed their ship. We saw it burning. Then they boarded us anyway. Climbed from their dying vessel onto ours, and took our command center. Who does that? What species fights harder as they lose? A third voice. We fear them. Not because they are stronger. Not because their weapons are better. We fear them because they do not understand fear. When we wound them, they get angry. When we kill their comrades, they fight harder. They are broken things from a broken world, and they will break us too, if we do not stop. The chamber was silent. Hana looked around at the assembled species. You wanted to know why the Ravagers surrendered. There is your answer. They surrendered because they finally understood what they were fighting. Not just soldiers, not just warriors. They were fighting survivors from a death world who learned that surrender means extinction. You are insane, whispered a council member. Yes, Hana agreed without hesitation. By your standards, every human is insane. We take risks that terrify you. We fight battles you would avoid. We choose death over surrender, but our insanity bought you peace. Our madness saved your worlds. High Counselor Vren's legs trembled on his platform. What do you want from us? Payment? Territory? Power? Ambassador Hana smiled. It was not a threatening smile, just sad and knowing. We want what we have always wanted, she said. A place to belong. A purpose. A reason to fight. You gave us that. You asked us to protect the innocent and stop the guilty. That is enough. Captain J entered the chamber. He had been watching from the side. Now he walked to stand beside Hana. The Council is offering humanity a new position, J announced. Protectors of the Galactic Rim. We would be responsible for defending Council space from external threats. You would make us your warriors, Hana added. Your violent, crazy humans. You would keep us at the edges where we can do what we do best, without making you too uncomfortable. Yes, Vren admitted. Is that acceptable? Hana and Jay looked at each other. A silent conversation passed between them. Then, they both nodded. We accept, Jay said. But understand something. When we fight our way. We do not ask permission. We do not calculate acceptable losses. We do not retreat because the numbers look bad. If you give us this job, you need to trust us to do it right. Even when our methods disturb you, Hana added. Even when we do things that seem wrong or reckless or insane. You asked for protectors. We are protectors. This is what protection costs. Vren looked around the chamber. He saw fear in many faces. But he also saw hope. The Ravagers had nearly destroyed them all. Humanity had stopped the Ravagers. The price of that protection was accepting that humans would always be different, always dangerous, always terrifying, but alive, and on their side. The Council accepts your terms, Vren said formally. Humanity will serve as protectors of the Galactic Rim. May you defend us as fiercely as you defended yourselves. The formal ceremony followed. Treaties were signed. Positions were assigned. Human ships would patrol the dangerous edges of Council space. Human soldiers would stand between civilization and chaos. Later, on the Indomitable, Captain J sat in his quarters. Commander Tay joined him with 2 glasses of whiskey, a human drink the aliens found disgusting. We did it, Tay said. We won the war. Saved the galaxy. Got humanity a purpose. We did, Jay agreed. He sipped his drink. Do you think they understand what they asked for? No, Tay said honestly. They think we will patrol their borders and shoot pirates. They do not understand that we will do more. We will teach them to fight again. Remind them that peace has a price. Show them that survival requires strength. And they will hate us for it, Jay said. Probably, Tay agreed. But they will be alive to hate us. That is enough. In the council diplomatic quarters, Ambassador Hana stood at a window, looking at the stars. Commander Jin joined her. Do you think we scared them? Jin asked. Absolutely, Hana replied. We showed them what humans really are. Survivors from a death world who treat impossible as a challenge instead of a limit. Warriors who will sacrifice everything for abstract concepts like duty and honor. Protectors who care more about saving others than saving ourselves. They will never understand us, Jin said. They do not need to understand us, Hana replied. They just need to trust that when darkness comes, humans will stand against it. That when monsters threaten their children, we will kill those monsters even if it costs us everything. She turned from the window. The stars quake, because humanity walks among them now. We are the reminder that survival is never guaranteed. That peace must be defended. That civilizations are built on the backs of those willing to fight and die for others. Is that why we do it? Jin asked. Fight and die for people who fear us? Hana smiled. We do it because it is what we do. Earth made us this way. Millions of years of survival made us stubborn and violent and protective. We cannot change our nature, so we use it to protect instead of destroy. And if someday they turn on us? Jin pressed. If our violence scares them so much they try to eliminate us, then we will survive, Hana said simply. Like we always survive. Because that is what humans do. We survive the impossible. We adapt to the unthinkable. We refuse to die no matter what the universe throws at us. She looked back at the stars. Somewhere out there, human ships were already moving to their new positions. Soldiers were preparing for new threats. The galaxy was changing because humanity had arrived. Let them quake, Hana whispered. Let them fear us. Let them remember that peace is bought with blood and defended with violence. We will be their shield, their sword, their warriors in the darkness, and if that makes us monsters in their eyes, so be it. Better to be living monsters than dead angels. Commander Jin raised his glass in a silent toast. To humanity. To survival. To the eternal struggle that made them who they were. On Earth, billions of humans looked up at the same stars. They did not know about treaties or council positions, but they felt it somehow. A shift in the universe, a new purpose for their species. Humans were no longer alone in the cosmos. They were no longer the strange newcomers. They were the protectors now. The defenders. The ones who stood between civilization and chaos. It was what they had always been. What Earth had made them. What survival demanded. Warriors. Protectors. Survivors. Human. And across the galaxy, those who understood war, whether Ravager or pirate, or worse things waiting in the dark, learned a new lesson. The stars quake now because humans walk among them. And humans do not know how to quit.